Dad has me, 18 male, and his wife has Ellie, who will be 18 in a week. Dad married his wife when I was 10, but they met and moved in together a year prior. My mom died when I was a baby. I was her only kid. My grandma, aka Mom's mom, died recently, and I found out she had left a sizable amount of money for me. My aunt was the one who mentioned it. She told me Grandma wanted me to be okay, since I had lost my mom so young. The money's enough that I could pay for many years of college and have no debt out of it, but I decided to attend a community college near my aunt and cousins. My stepsister's also starting college, and she doesn't have much money, so Ellie's mom said I should split the money in half and give Ellie one half as a B-Day gift so she could have a good start in life. She said my grandma should have considered her anyway, seeing that Ellie and I grew up together and became brother and sister at a very young age. I said Ellie had nothing to do with my grandma, and why would she have her inheritance over her other daughter and grandkids? Dad asked me if I would be open to sharing my money with Ellie and if I would be willing to help her. I said no. Ellie flipped and told me I was supposed to be her brother and stop any favoritism. I told her it couldn't be favoritism when she's not related to that part of my family. Ellie and her mom are saying I'm wrong. Dad hasn't, but he said it would be a good family move to share and to think of Ellie and how she's the only sibling I'll ever have. He knows I don't consider her my sister, so he doesn't push it as much, but he did bring it up. Ellie and her mom have not let up in the last several weeks. I moved in with my aunt to escape the whole thing, but it kept coming, making me doubt everything. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your stepsister isn't entitled to the money, and your maternal grandmother didn't consider your stepsister a granddaughter either. Otherwise, she would have left her something. If I were you, I would tell your father to make this clear to his wife and stepdaughter and not interact with them until they understand that they're not entitled to your money and that it's unfair to keep confronting you about it. Ask what Ellie's relatives are leaving you in their wills, then give her the same amount of money. Hint, it's going to be nothing. I'd also ask Ellie's mom in what way she prepared for your college, as a family move and all. This is your gift, and the most important thing you can do with it is use it to build and secure your future, just as your grandmother wished. Agree, and make sure your dad does not have any access to the money or your bank accounts. If their love is conditional on you handing over your inheritance, what kind of love is that? You don't owe Ellie anything, and the way they're approaching this is wrong. If I were you, their attitude alone would have made me decide not to give her a cent. It's not up to your stepmother to decide what your grandmother should have done. It's not your stepmother's money. However, your grandmother did what she should have done, which is to give her own money to whomever she wanted to, for the reasons she felt were right. I'm sure your grandmother would not have wanted you to be bullied and guilt-tripped into giving away the money she meant for you. Of course, your dad's new wife and daughter have nothing to do with your grandmother. Shame on your stepmother for even trying to manipulate you emotionally. Ellie has 2 parents who can pay for college and 2 sets of grandparents. So stay at your aunt's and go no contact. I, 34 male, was supposed to be a groomsman at a wedding for 2 close friends, but I recently backed out 2 weeks before the scheduled ceremony because the bride and groom did not wish for my wife to attend with our son. My wife gave birth to our first child 3 months ago and has been recovering at home while also looking after our son. I stayed home the first month and a half with her, but had to return to work due to my paternity leave ending. The couple getting married are close friends of both my wife and me, and we've known them and the groomsmen and bridesmaids for years. My wife was even supposed to be in the wedding party before she found out she was pregnant. The soon-to-be bride and groom have been very gracious and patient with my wife's and my schedule leading up to the wedding, and I've tried to be fair and contribute as much as the others. However, my wife was very excited to attend the wedding, and we've been planning on bringing our son, as my wife and I are not yet comfortable leaving him yet. I didn't think this would be a problem because it wasn't a child-free wedding, but recently, both the bride and groom reached out to me to request my wife and I leave our son and not bring him to the wedding. I explained that we were not comfortable leaving him, specifically my wife, and the bride and groom suggested my wife not attend the wedding if she's not comfortable leaving our son yet. I told them I thought that was unfair, considering other people in the party would be bringing their children. Still, they said they'd singled us out because they don't think weddings are for babies, and they also are worried about disruptions during the ceremony. I told them that if my wife and son weren't welcomed, then I would not be attending. Now the bride and groom are claiming I've disrupted everything, and I even have other friends who are also a part of the party reaching out to us for us to resolve the issue. I don't plan on changing my mind because my wife was so excited to attend the wedding, and I feel we were unfairly singled out. You are the idiot. I really don't think this was an unreasonable request. Your son is a baby. Babies cry and fuss, often at unpredictable times. The chances of your baby disrupting their ceremony are much higher than a well-behaved 5-year-old. If the baby starts to fuss or cry, your wife will have to leave and miss the remainder of the ceremony anyway. You are the idiot because you're essentially throwing a hissy fit, assuming you're being singled out. You're not. You're probably the only ones with a baby. Your wife's inability to leave your son is her problem and yours, not the bride and groom's. So you're wrong to expect that everyone will accommodate you and your wife because you can't leave your kid with a grandparent for an evening. You should also have checked all this more than 2 weeks ahead of time, instead of assuming everyone would accommodate you and then flipping out when they don't. I disagree. I think OP is not the idiot. This is why. The bride and groom have known for roughly a year that OP and his wife would have a very young child on or around the time of their wedding. They did not make the wedding child-free, and at no point when OP contributed to the pre-wedding events did the bride and groom say, "Hey, by the way, we know the wedding isn't child-free, but we don't want your baby there." No, they waited until 2 weeks before the wedding to spring this on OP. I'm a 30-year-old father of 2. I want to say happily married, but the last year has been a very, very bad period for my marriage. It appears to have started with my mother-in-law, who's the only grandparent our kids have. For a while, she has treated me like all I should do is provide, and my wife appears to have jumped on that bandwagon. I got told I should leave the parenting to my wife. I was told to let her quit her job and work all the hours I could so she could be a stay-at-home mom, even if it meant I never see my kids. My wife and I have had discussions about this, but every time I think progress is being made, we go backward. We both grew up without fathers. Hers bailed before she was born, and mine was far more complicated. But let's just say I had no positive male role models growing up around me, and my home life was toxic and not so great. So I feel like my wife and mother-in-law's experience has influenced what they want and expect from a father. They see fathers as providers more than people involved in the kids, and don't understand that I don't want to miss out on my kids growing up. They're toddlers now, and I've only been there for stuff like first steps and words because I don't do as they say I should. But my mother-in-law especially has said that stuff is for mothers, not fathers, and when I was there for those moments, I could have been working to provide for my family. On Friday, there was another fight like this. I got home from work at my normal time for bath and bedtime with my kids, and mother-in-law said my wife could do it and I should be working. My wife spoke up for once and said the kids loved me doing it. But Saturday came, and my wife tried to pitch this idea that she had for staying home, me working more, but maybe getting some time with the kids on the weekends. We argued, and I poured my heart out to her. I expressed all the hurt I felt at being pushed out. The whole thing was raw for me because we had talked before, but I was never as hurt or angry about it as Saturday. I stepped away in the end so it wouldn't become worse. Then yesterday, I don't know if Saturday got through to her, but she appeared apologetic. She did apologize, and she brought the kids into bed before I woke up so I could snuggle with them first thing. It was maybe the first time I felt like she wanted me to spend time with the kids in a long time. But then she invited her mother, and I didn't want to have Father's Day ruined. So I announced I was taking the kids, who weren't coming with us, and left with them for the day. Mother-in-law was angry. My wife was upset but said she understood, but her upset only made mother-in-law angrier. I feel bad for not trying to work through something with my wife first. Part of me was just scared Father's Day would be ruined for me if I didn't just go with my kids. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your mother-in-law is toxic and will keep pushing you and your wife. You're absolutely right to take a step back. Most wives would be happy to have a spouse that wants to take an active part in parenting their children, especially when they're that young. Heck, you taking them for a day gives her a day to relax. You did nothing wrong. Your mother-in-law, on the other hand, not so much. Your mother-in-law is on a mission to destroy your family. Your wife needs to distance herself from her mother until she can think independently and not get influenced by her mom's destructive relationship advice. How do you tell anyone to devote themselves entirely to working with no family or social life? What's the point of having a family if you do this? Get married and have kids just to become a willing ATM? That would be a sad existence. So many mothers would pray for a partner like you who wants to parent the kids. I would tell your wife that such expectations are laid out before having kids so that you could opt out and find a sensible partner who wants equal modern division of roles. I also suspect your mother-in-law was at least part of why your wife's father went MIA. Update. My wife and I have talked a bit today, and we're going to start marriage counseling together. And she has told me she would start to distance herself from her mom a bit so we can focus on our marriage. I, 36 male, have 2 young boys. I'm engaged to Millie, 31 female, and we have a great relationship. My kids like her a lot, and vice versa. We always have fun together, and they call her Aunt Millie. They live with me about half the time because my ex and I share custody. My mom was at my house the other day to spend time with us. We were having a good time. Then Millie got a package. It was a piece of antique art. She's a collector, and she left to get it ready for her display case. Soon after, my elder came in and asked me to help with his homework. So I excused myself and went to sit in the living room with him. My mom gave this odd look but said nothing, so I didn't question it. While my boys played outside, she asked why my fiancé didn't help him, since I was clearly busy with my mom. I was surprised and said Millie was busy too. Besides, my son asked me for help and not her. She tooted loudly and said, "Well, what's the point of getting a new wife if she's not going to help you parent your kids? She better step up fast if she wants to be a mother to them." This blew my mind because not only was it incredibly rude, my boys already have a mother. My ex is a great parent and the only one they'd ever call mom, and Millie and I aren't even married yet, so she technically isn't their stepmom. I told her that wasn't necessary. Helping with homework is hardly parenting, and I'm their dad, so parenting them is my job. I also clarified that had my son asked Millie for homework help, which he never does, she would have gladly helped, but that again, she was busy, and he asked me. My mom said, "So she just expects to sit on her butt, polishing her trinkets while you bust your back around?" I lost my temper and politely told her to get out, as I could hear my kids coming in and didn't want a scene. She was affronted but left in a huff. Mom told the whole family. A few extended family members are on her side and say I overreacted. Dad called me and took no sides, but assured me my anger was justified since he knows how my mom gets. Millie's glad I stuck up for her, but feels guilty for what happened and wishes I'd gone in and asked her to help my kid so she could prove to mom that she's willing to do those things. She said I shouldn't have kicked mom out before she had a chance to talk it out with her, since Millie is going to be family and we should all get along for the sake of the boys and any future kids we have. She said that now there's family drama about her before she's even married into it. I firmly feel like I did the right thing here, but seeing her stress gives me pause. I reassured her that she'd done nothing wrong, would make a fantastic stepmom, and that my kids love her, but my mom does not get to say she needs to parent them. My kids don't need or want another mom. They just want their friend/aunt. Should I have given my fiancé the chance to talk to her before kicking her out? Am I the idiot? Well, what's the point of getting a new wife if she's not going to help you parent your kids? LMAO, what? There's so much more important to marriage than parenting children. Not the idiot OP. Millie's only upset because she's scared it's her fault and she doesn't want to make waves. Reassure her it's not her fault, that it's okay if there are waves, and that she will always be the priority, no matter what drama ensues. I understand her anxiety, but don't cower to bullies just to alleviate anxiety. It'll only cause more in the future. Does your mother hate your ex or something? It's so weird that she's trying to replace your ex's legitimacy as a mother to your shared children. Has your mother criticized your fiance for other things before? Was she hypercritical of your ex and/or any other women you've been involved with? It sounds like nothing will make a woman good enough in your mom's eyes. However, I wonder if she would have had an equally irrational response if the reverse had happened. For example, if your fiance was helping the kids with their homework, would your mother have then criticized that as overstepping? Everyone's the idiot. Your mom is the idiot. But why did you need to tell your mom to get out instead of just ending the convo? I felt that your reaction to it was a bit overboard. Your kids calling your fiance aunt is unusual though. Update. Am I the idiot for kicking my mom out of my house after she tried to get my fiance to parent my kid? So as some of you suggested, I drew clear boundaries with my mom, explaining who parents my kids and why she was in the wrong, with some success. She acknowledged she shouldn't have insulted Millie. Then she demanded that I admit I was wrong to make her leave like that. Well, I said I didn't believe I was. She promptly texts that she's no longer coming to my wedding. She's willing to reconsider it if I apologize for my rudeness. Now, my mom's done dramatic things like this before, and they always end up being empty threats, but only because someone placates or coaxes her. I don't think apologizing was right. Poor Millie was distraught, but supported me 100%. She offered to apologize if I thought it would help. She suspects that since everything was going fine until she excused herself, my mom pulled this because she thought it was rude. Knowing Mom, I can't rule this out. However, I told Millie she had nothing to apologize for, and my mom was wrong to say it regardless. Worth mentioning, she didn't apologize for how rude she was about Millie, nor did I demand it. My dad told me apologizing was totally up to me, and that he'd be at the wedding regardless. Sister suggested I fake an apology just to get her to the wedding, then start going low contact right after. Not the worst idea, but I dislike being fake, even for an apology. I'm trying to teach my boys how they should never give half an apology when they know they're in the wrong. I feel something similar applies here. I respectfully told my mom that she could decide whatever she liked for the wedding, but that she wouldn't get an apology from me. Instead, she hung up in my fiance's face and hasn't contacted me since. Been almost 2 weeks. To be honest, I'm over it. I do love my mom. She's done right by my sisters and me in other areas, and I did want her there. But I need to protect my family, and she did this knowing it would hurt them. The wedding's 3 months away, so this is salvageable if it should be salvaged. But the only reason I wouldn't now is for my kids and Millie. The boys love their grandma and will wonder why she isn't there. Millie plans on this being her only wedding, as do I, LOL. And it's important to her that all our family attend. But she's accepted that this may be a blessing in disguise if the only way we keep my mom in our lives is by bending the knee at every turn. One silver lining is that some of the extended family, who was previously on my mom's side, have decided that she's now being unreasonable. They apologized and will be attending the wedding now. A few of them still back her up, but oh well. What matters is that I'm marrying the love of my life, and no one there will talk crap about her for doing nothing wrong or criticizing my parenting. Thanks for the update. It sounds like you found a winner in your fiance. Congratulations on your upcoming nuptials. Have fun. The only one with regrets would be your mom. If you give your mother an inch, she will take a mile. You must establish right at the gate that you will not tolerate this behavior. Apologizing will only encourage it. You apologize, then in 2 weeks she gets angry about something else, and you have to apologize or else. It's a never-ending cycle with some people. Best to stop it early rather than late. I doubt she'll waste her mother of the groom entrance at your wedding, but a civil low contact sounds like a good idea. Congratulations and best wishes on your marriage. I, female 36, found out that my husband had been having an affair with this woman for a year. She got pregnant, and my husband wanted to keep it and stay with me after he redeemed himself. And because we wanted kids but couldn't have them, he was able to convince me to give our marriage a second chance to work. Also, since those fertility issues were on my side, I felt guilty for not being able to give him kids. It was really hard for me to adjust, but after I became Adam's legal parent, I felt relieved and like we were all a family. Adam's bio mom disappeared as she wanted nothing to do with him, according to what my husband said. Adam's now a young child. He unfortunately developed a medical condition that is rapidly getting worse. He's at the hospital most of the time, and there isn't much we could do other than keeping his condition stable. He got admitted to the hospital days ago. I'm constantly worried and afraid of losing him all of a sudden after I put so much effort into making the family stable again. 2 days ago, my husband brought up Adam's bio mom and told me that he told her about him being in the hospital. I was shocked when I heard this and infuriated. I told him why he told her. Why was he in contact with her at all? And he said she heard from a mutual friend about Adam and has been begging to come to visit him at the hospital. I blew up at him after he asked to arrange a visit for her and told him that she was never his mom. I was, and her presence will only confuse him and worsen his condition. He told me that she's Adam's bio mom and always will be, and that I was being cruel by denying her a visit. He asked that I consider it, but I refused. Yesterday he came to the hospital and brought her with him. I don't know what I felt when I saw her, but all I can say is that I couldn't handle it. I started telling them to back off. He tried to get me to calm down, but I yelled for security, who eventually escorted both of them because my husband was not backing off. I got inside the room and started crying. I was in full panic mode. I called Mom to come and stay with me, and she stayed there all night. I got home in the morning and my husband was there waiting. He picked an argument with me about how I behaved at the hospital and had me listen to a recording of Adam's bio mom begging me to let her see him. I still refused and blocked all his attempts to get me convinced. I returned to the hospital and he told my family about what had happened. Some are on my side, but others think I'm being unfair and cruel to deny this woman a visit. Am I the idiot for standing my ground? Not the idiot. She abandoned her son years ago. She doesn't get to come back and confuse him now when he's sick. Also, your husband is still in contact with her? The fact that they spoke on the phone and that he brought her to the hospital was completely disrespectful, considering he had an affair with her. Honestly, at this stage, I would consult a divorce lawyer. I would also bring paperwork to the hospital stating you're his adoptive parent and she signed her rights away and that you want her to be put on the block list. She has no rights over him or to see him. I agree with everything you said, but the more I think about it, the more I get a sinking feeling that maybe, just maybe, the bio mom and Adam have already met, and that's why the dad dismissed OP's concern about confusing him. If the husband and bio mom have continued to be in contact, what if the dad just brought the kid along on one of his visits to introduce them and let them hang out together? It sure would keep bio mom on his hook. I wouldn't even put it past that idiot to swear the kid to secrecy so we could meet with this woman. We already know he's a habitual liar and a cheater. I do wonder about that. Given the husband's behavior, I wonder if bio mom just walked away or if she was coerced. OP's not wrong and only has her son's best interest in mind. But once a lawyer's brought on board, it might be a good thing to have the lawyer reach out to bio mom to confirm details, but only because the hubs clearly cannot be trusted at all. And having a family health history from bio mom could be important. But beyond that, it should 100% be up to OP, who has access to her son, even if it means no access. We assume she abandoned him, but we only have the husband's word on that. And why are we trusting anything he says after all this drama? It wouldn't surprise me if the two of them had some agreement in place so we could keep playing happy families with OP while sneaking around behind her back. This whole situation smells suspicious to me. My son just became a pre-tween. He wanted peanut butter cake, so I got him the peanut butter cake. My nephew, a year older, is severely allergic, so I also got a small generic vanilla cake for him and any other kid who may not want the peanut one. The peanut cake was decorated, had candles, etc., and it was the cake the kids saw and is in the pictures. The vanilla cake was small and garden variety. It was in the kitchen, and I cut it up there and took pieces out for the kids who wanted it, about 5 kids out of 20. Most kids at the party were cousins of my son. My husband and I both come from big families, plus some friends. Adults were also there, mostly my siblings and my husband. When my sister saw the peanut cake, she freaked and yelled at me, saying if her son touched the cake, he could die. I told her that I told the kids it was peanut cake and that I have a vanilla one in the kitchen for my nephew. She freaked out and her husband walked her into the house to calm her down. When she came back, the kids were already eating cake. She asked me, "So you're okay with my son dying so that yours can have a cake?" I told her that's absurd, and I'm not getting into it at a kid's party. After the party, she said I'm an inconsiderate idiot for not considering her kid. He could die if he had just a little cake by accident. So, am I the idiot? You are the idiot. It isn't worth the risk, is it? Indeed, you have observed kids at play before. They touch each other, and then those fingers go into their mouths and noses. This isn't rocket science. You are the idiot for not at least warning your family before the party that peanut butter cake was going to be involved, especially since you know a close family member has a deadly allergy. You played Russian roulette with a birthday cake. It was stupid, and you were wrong. I know people that just smell peanut butter and start reacting. Once a friend touched something that was touched by someone who touched a peanut, and he reacted. Allergies are no joke, and this should have been mentioned first, so a solution could be made. You are the idiot. You put your nephew in danger. You could have easily told your son to have the peanut butter cake another day. Instead, you trusted younger children to eat the cake and not cross-contaminate. You could have told her that this was the kind of cake your son wanted, but instead you just blatantly put your nephew into the line of danger, and your sister had to stand there and watch. I would have panicked too. Next time you should maybe think about others. I can't get over the fact that OP would put another child at deadly risk because of cake. This is about as insensitive and selfish as people get, not caring that another person could die with somebody's little mistake, like cross-contaminating the cutlery, or as OP did, by storing the cakes in the same fridge and touching both with unwashed hands. My old assistant was deadly allergic to nuts, and what did we do? We stopped eating nuts in the workplace because her life was worth vastly more than our stupid snacks. Some backstory. I have 3 kids, Daisy, a young teen female, Eva, a teen female, and Dorothy, 25 female. They used to get along great. Then Daisy got a cat for her birthday, and Eva hated him. I think she's scared of him, but she refuses to admit it. So she used it as an excuse not to have much of a relationship with her sister. She's been more distant from the rest of the family in order to distance herself from her sister and her cat. My husband also dislikes the cat, but he doesn't let it affect his relationship with his family. My husband and I were at our friend's birthday party last week. We were supposed to be out late, and Daisy and Eva were home alone. Eva was taking the family dog out, and Daisy's cat was trying to play and was swiping at her feet. Eva called Daisy to get her stupid cat away and told her what the cat was doing. Apparently, Daisy took her time to get there, then laughed, called the cat a good boy, and gave him a treat. Daisy denied it, but it sounds like something she'd do. This sparked an argument between the two, and Eva kept cursing the cat out. She knows this hurts Daisy, and Daisy retaliates by cursing her out. Eva responded by telling Daisy that she doesn't love her and hasn't for a long time. She hates her. She's excited for the day she gets to move out and never speak to her or see her again. This deeply hurt Daisy because family is extremely important to her, and Daisy lives nearby but never asks her to hang out and only speaks to her a couple of times a year, which is already very hard on her. Then to rub salt on the wound, she grabbed a treat, called the cat's name, and threw the treat outside. The cat chased it, and Daisy spent over an hour looking for her cat. Eva called my husband and told him about their argument, and Daisy called me and told me what Eva did with the treat, so we had to leave early. When I got home, I grounded Eva because she escalated the argument by cursing the cat out, then hurt her sister by going on that spiel about how she hates her. But my husband ungrounded her and said that Daisy should be punished for laughing and giving the cat a treat when he was trying to scratch Eva. Daisy asked if anything was going to happen to Eva for what she said and did, and Eva yelled that she meant everything. I told Eva that she ruined my weekend and not to speak to me. My husband took her side and has slept on the couch since, and Eva hasn't spoken to Daisy or me since the argument. Last night I found my husband helping Eva pack and get her important documents out of the safe. When I asked what he was doing, he said Eva would stay with Dorothy. I told him Eva wasn't going anywhere, but he ignored me and went back to packing. Eva's gone now, and my husband is still on the couch. Am I the idiot for telling my daughter not to speak to me? Whoa. You're telling us that the teenage daughters got into a fight, and by the end of the day, your husband aided Eva in packing to go live with her sister, and she left to do so? And there was no summit between the parents to discuss this? It sounds like your daughters communicate with each other as well as you and your husband do, which is to say, not very well. Your family's falling apart. Let go of your pride and start working on this. Until then, you are the idiot. Yes, you are the idiot. Why are your children's relationships with each other and you so fractured? Why is your relationship with your husband so broken? There are much bigger problems in your family than a cat. If you genuinely believe it's all down to the cat, maybe the problem is you. It's not about the cat. Whatever precipitated this situation was brewing for a long time, and it all came to a head that evening. The real truth will come from Dorothy. If Dorothy's not interested in having a relationship with Daisy, then I'm just going to say there's a common thread somewhere. Even when the husband is helping a child pack, there's some favoritism and excuse-making going on in that house. I bet Mom doesn't listen to anybody when it comes to Daisy. One kid is already out of the house at her normal age and not speaking to Mom. Not normal. Now the next one got away, and Dad helped because, as the previous poster said, it's been brewing a long time. Who wants to bet her husband runs out the door next? How much do you want to bet the husband is waiting to file for divorce until either the middle daughter turns 18, so there'll be no chance the middle daughter will have to stay with OP, or the youngest daughter can tell the court she wants to live with OP, so he doesn't have to get custody? Seriously, instead of OP rehoming the cat, OP's husband decided it would be better to rehome Eva. There's a lot to unpack here. They need therapy. The worst part about this is that Daisy will eventually grow up, mature, and realize that her siblings hate her, and OP enabled the situation in the first place. For the past year, my sister's been trying to get pregnant, a journey that I fully support. However, she's been kind of obnoxious about it. She's always bringing up how she might be pregnant. No wine for me, I might be pregnant. I can't keep the fast today, I might be pregnant. I miss sushi, but must abstain because I might be pregnant. She's been pregnant and not pregnant for so long that I'm starting to worry she'll give birth to a cat. Last night I told her about an upcoming trip with my boyfriend and some friends. We're going river rafting, which I've never done before and was excited about. She said, I'd love to try that too, but I can't because I might be pregnant. I got annoyed because we were talking about me for once, and she found a way to make it about her hypothetical pregnancy again. I said, no one invited you. She asked me what my problem was, and I said I was sick of hearing about her hypothetical pregnancy. She said I was immature and left. I feel bad, but also I am so sick of hearing about Schrodinger's pregnancy. Am I the idiot? How? My ribs. Schrodinger's pregnancy? I'm dying. Not the idiot OP. I would go to the Dollar Tree, buy a bunch of pregnancy tests, and every time she said she might be pregnant, hand her a test. Not the idiot, and look out. If she's this crazy now, I can't imagine how attention-starved she'll be if and when she's pregnant. Talk to her maturely about it and see if she can tone it down. Sometimes people get obnoxious over stuff constantly on their mind without being aware of it and can be checked politely by people around them. Oh God, think of the baby shower drama. She will be one of those whose gender reveal party causes property destruction or wildfires. She needs a hobby and to stop trying to make every conversation about her. Going against the grain with "you are the idiot" She is annoying, yes, but it's probably coming from a place of fear and sadness about not getting pregnant quickly. She's trying to speak it into existence and could use some grace right now. Yeah, you don't know what she's going through, and trying to conceive is a very emotionally tumultuous journey, especially when you're young, and for some reason it's just not happening. Everybody's so focused on the witty comments OP's making, not realizing these are real-life people with real-life feelings, and a little empathy goes a long way. Is it worth nuking your relationship with your sister over feeling momentarily annoyed? She's not hurting anyone by having hope. So my half-sister and I have the same dad and different moms. She's a teen, I'm 31. My sister's mom remarried last year, and her husband has 2 daughters, so they're her stepsisters, but not mine. I had planned something for me and my sister, a vacation only for our sisters. About 2 weeks before, her mom called me and asked if I was willing to take her 2 stepsisters. They're teens. She said they haven't been on vacation for a long time. They're really jealous and are giving her a hard time. She can't take them on vacation because their finances are very tight, and it's really unfair to the other kids that my sister gets to go on a vacation right now. I said no, and my reasons were that I don't know these kids. I can't be responsible for them. Also, money-wise, I couldn't double my budget for 2 extra people. This was also something for my sister and me. I wasn't planning on taking 3 kids on vacation. This would completely change the experience. I didn't even take my husband because I wanted it to be just for my sister and me. Anyway, my sister and I had a great time and we're back. Her mom called me again and told me that the other kids were heartbroken because of my actions. I've only met these kids 2 or 3 times. I don't know what was expected of me here. She said I was heartless and mean, and I could have made it work for all of them. She said this would have also gone a long way for my sister to bond with her stepsisters, although I generally expected that that would be her responsibility as their parent. I'm so taken aback by her phone call that I'm questioning whether I've been the idiot in this situation. Am I the idiot for refusing to take all 3 of them? Not the idiot. Here, take my kids on vacation. Pay for it yourself because I can't afford it, and take responsibility for 2 extra teenagers while you're at it. That's absurd. Your sister is your sister. Her stepsisters are kids you've known for like a year. Of course you shouldn't be expected to pay to take teenagers you hardly know on vacation. If OP's sister's mom offered to pay for the other 2 kids to go, it would be less unreasonable, but it would still be 100% reasonable for OP not to want to take these near strangers on vacation. I don't know what world OP's sister's mom lives in where a person would take kids half her age who she's met once or twice on vacation and pay for it herself. This is your vacation, not free babysitting. You did a wonderful thing for your half-sister, but you did not have any obligation to do it, and you certainly have no obligation to do it for someone you've barely met. That's basically like me going down to my random next block neighbor and telling them they should be taking my children on vacation. Just wow.